Hello everybody, welcome to Team 5202 Programming Tutorials. My name is Samuel. I'm going to start you guys off with some Java concepts really quickly, and then we are going to go right into creating our first program. So, here we go. Methods. Methods are just blocks of codes that are grouped together under a specific name. So, to be able to use them, you just reference them by that name. They're able to take inputs as well as give out outputs. You may hear them under the name commands, functions, and you may have seen these if you've been programming anywhere else. So at the bottom you can see a few examples. Obviously you're never going to see a command that says kitty.domeow or say hello, but you get the gist of how they're supposed to be kind of structured, how they look. So, variables. Just like in algebra, variables are placeholders for everything, kind of like a briefcase. But however, unlike in algebra, they don't have to be numbers. So they could be strings of letters, true or false variables, also known as booleans, etc. So most objects can be variables, and I'm going to cover objects in a second. So we're going to get to that. But you can set the value of them, you write or assign them, or you check the value of them, also known as reading. So down at the bottom, start out. You have, just looking at the examples one by one, you do int number equals 2, so int is just computer slang for integer. But the way you set it up, the way you create one of these is you give it a type, and you give it a name. So we do int number, so integer by the name number. Now it's a little redundant, but that's okay. And then we're going to set it to equal 2 at first. If we go over and look at the string name equals Bilford, that means that we've created a string of characters and given it this value right over here. This, okay? So classes, a concept. So classes are template definitions that hold methods and variables in a particular kind of thing. So instances or creations of this class are called objects. So everything in Java is organized into classes. So the best way I can explain this with ideas. So the idea of a cat versus an actual cat. So like the idea of a cat, the concept of it would be considered a class. So if you look over here, you can kind of see how this is going. So you'll notice you have your cat right here. You'll define it, and you give it general characteristics in this. So I can give it a color, I can give it a name, and I can give it a command to do. Okay? But if I move on and I create an object of this, then now I have a workable version of this that I can have specific values assigned to variables. So, for example, once I've created this, I can go in and I say kitty.name, and I can take this name that's inside of this cat that I have, this cat object. I can set it to be something. I can give it a name. So in this case, Tigress. I can set a color. I can make it do things specifically as that object. Okay. And then another quick note to keep in mind: using this class, we can go away. Okay. But anyway, using this class, we can create infinite cats using this. So I can create a whole bunch of different objects and keep using this over and over and over, making it really, really useful. So here we go, in a hierarchy. So we take these classes and we organize them together and we link them in hierarchy. So children or subclasses can take on a parent or a superclass's general characteristics and modify or add to them. So for example, if you want to take the cat example, the cat could be a subclass to an animal, or the animal would be the superclass to a cat, or a dog, or a tiger, or however other many animals that you wanted to put under there. Okay, you can structure it just like that. In our FTC software development kit, all those runnable programs that we create have to be subclasses to either op mode or linear op mode. Now I'll explain the difference a little later in the next video, but basically these two give us access to everything important that we need. How this all applies. Java is a language that implements object-oriented programming, or all of our methods and variables are organized into classes. All these programs that we're going to create today are classes. We're also going to be using many objects and classes in our programs, including the motors, servos, etc. So all those things, they all have specific properties, and they're all lined up already there for us. We just have to use them. How to create a program. So I'm going to go open Android Studio, right now. Should pop up. Already have it here. You're going to have a screen that's somewhat like this, okay? I'm going to go in. We start out. First things first, this thing over here is the file tree. This is how we're going to manage all of our files that we see. For now, I'm just going to go in. You'll want to create your programs within the team code folder. You go in Java org.firstinspires.etc.teamcode. You go in. You'll right-click on something in here. You can say New Java Class. Pop up with a screen like this. You'll give it a name, whatever name that you want. I'm just going to say First Teleop. Okay, it can be any name that you want as long as it has no spaces. Should be good to go. Alright, so you're going to pop up with a screen that looks something like this. And you'll see, first thing you'll notice is that it's created this thing in here for you. It already has a structure here for your class. It's structured, but also notice that these two things up here, the file name and the name of the class, line up. Now this is really important. If these aren't lined up, then Java's not gonna have anything aligned in there, and it's gonna be really, really confused. So you have to make sure that these are the same. You can change one, but if you do, then you have to change the other. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, we're gonna start out. First things first. Remember those hierarchies we were just talking about? We have to set them up to be connected to all the op modes, so that way we have a bunch of stuff to access. So we're going to connect it to this first frame really quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to here in between the curly bracket and this first teleop, whatever name that we've given it, we're going to say it extends op mode. Okay, I'm going to work with the op mode first. If you have a little screen that pops up like this and it says, oh hey, is it this file? And it's going to say yeah. So you're going to just hit Alt and Enter, and it should pop up, and it'll be like that. And you'll see a red squiggly line here if everything's correct, and this will be normal, but you'll still have this underline. We're going to fix this in a second. So the way this is set up, an op mode has to have two properties for sure. Okay, so now that you're in op mode, you have to have specific things. So now we have to define those specific things. So we have to create two methods here. Okay, these are structures that we're going to use to run. So we're going to say public void init. I'm going to create these. Make sure you have curly brackets right there and watch those. It's like minding your P's and Q's. And public void loop. Okay? So, the way this is set up, in this op mode program, there's two parts. So you start out, you have your init. So this is at the very beginning, whenever you see the driver station, you select a program, it's going to have an init button. Big and glaring. So when you first press that, you're going to go through and you're going to run through this init procedure right here. So this is going to be a one-time deal. You're going to run through this straight through, and you're going to stop, and you're going to wait. Okay? And then you're going to have another button that's going to prompt you to actually start the program once you're done initializing. So it'll go, you have a play button, you'll click that, and then what you'll do is you'll go into this thing right here, and you'll keep repeating what's in here, what you create in here, over and over and over. So the reason why you want to loop this thing over and over and over is because you want to refresh your gamepad values or your joystick values. You want to make sure that those are constant and you keep updating and updating and updating.